Have you ever wondered if there's like a secret formula to attraction? A kind of cheat code for chemistry? Well, today we're going to try and decode the science behind what really makes people click, and we're pulling some fascinating stuff from The Man's Guide to Women.
I mean, it always starts with a promise like this, doesn't it? This ad is basically saying you can just bottle attraction, that a simple scent can make you completely irresistible. But seriously, can you actually buy seduction? Or is there something, deeper, more biological going on?
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by busting the big seduction myth and get into the real science of scent. Then we are diving deep into why that first kiss is so insanely important. I'll even give you a step-by-step playbook, and we'll wrap up by figuring out how to be a hero and not a zero.
Okay, so about that magic potion in a bottle. Let's get right to it and talk about the so-called secret ingredient they claim to be selling, pheromones. What even are they really?
Okay, so here's the thing. Pheromones are absolutely real, and they are incredibly powerful. But, and this is a big but, they're not something you can buy in a store. They're your body's own natural chemical signals that basically subconsciously tell another person whether or not you're a good genetic match.
And this is the bottom line right here. You can and you absolutely should control your hygiene. We're talking showers, deodorant, clean clothes. That stuff matters, big time. But your pheromones, that's just pure biology. It's a kind of chemistry you just can't fake or change. And yeah, this picture just nails it. You can't just mix up a batch of sexual chemistry in a lab. Some people will just smell right to you and some won't. It's not personal. It's just biology.
And get this, people are actually putting this science to the test. Have you ever heard of pheromone parties? People literally choose who to date by smelling their unwashed t-shirts. I know, it sounds totally bizarre, but the book mentions that one of the first events had a shockingly high success rate. We're talking several long-term relationships that started from just a sniff. That's the power of scent in action.
All right, so for our second part, let's switch gears. We're moving from the invisible world of scent to something much more tangible and, as it turns out, something that is incredibly critical. The first kiss.
You have to hear this. A psychologist named John Bohannon did a study and found that people can recall 90% of the details of their first romantic kiss. It doesn't matter how long ago it was, that memory is more vivid than almost any other major life event. Think about that.
And if that wasn't enough pressure, how about this little factoid? Research shows that a whopping 66% of women have ended a potential relationship just because the first kiss was bad. That is 2/3. It is, quite literally, a make-or-break moment.
So, why? What is the big deal? What is happening on a biological level that makes just a few seconds of contact so decisive?
Well, it really all comes down to the brain. A great kiss triggers this massive flood of powerful, feel-good hormones. We're talking dopamine, which is the pleasure chemical, and oxytocin, which people call the love or bonding hormone. So a good kiss isn't just romantic, it's literally a chemical cocktail of pure attraction.
Okay, so the stakes are high. We get it. But here's the good news. While you can't control that base-level chemistry, you can absolutely control your approach. So let's get into the playbook.
So the playbook basically breaks it down into 6 key stages. It all starts with reading the signals and going slow to really build that anticipation. Then it covers the kiss itself and how to trust your gut and use touch to make the moment, perfect. Let's dig into the details.
Okay, before you even think about making a move, 3 things are totally non-negotiable. First, oral hygiene. Seriously, it's a deal breaker. Second, confidence. Asking, "May I kiss you?" might seem polite, but trust me, it just kills the mood. And third, you have to learn to read the signals. Is she looking at your lips? Is she holding your gaze? Those are your green lights. And when you get to the actual technique, the source material, it puts it perfectly. A little moisture is actually a good thing. A man's saliva has testosterone, which can boost her sex drive. But as this quote hilariously points out, there's a huge difference between a passionate kiss and a slobbery mess. The takeaway? Keep it clean.
So let's bring this all home. When you boil it all down, the science of seduction really comes down to a few key things that separate the heroes from the zeros.
Think of this as the final cheat sheet. It lays out the 2 paths, right? One leads to a really memorable connection, and the other, it leads to a missed opportunity. Let's break down what separates them.
So, you might be heading down the zero path if you ignore your hygiene.
if you completely misread the signals and go in too soon or wait way too long, or if you just rush the whole thing and skip building that anticipation. And crucially, if the kiss itself is sloppy, or if you forget how important a gentle touch is to making her feel safe and connected. These are the classic mistakes.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. No, you can't control that fundamental biological chemistry that pulls two people together. You just can't. But everything else, your hygiene, your confidence, your timing, your technique, that is all in your hands. So the real question is, now that you know the science, are you ready to make that next first kiss truly unforgettable?